Welcome back to Harry Fairytales, where every story is filled with magic, wonder, and important lessons. I'm so happy you're here with me today. Now let's step into our magical story. Long, long ago, there was a beautiful town called Hamelin. It sat beside a sparkling river with cobblestone streets and colorful houses with red roofs. The people of Hamelin were hardworking and kind. Bakers baked fresh bread every morning, shopkeepers sold toys and treats, children played in the streets, and everyone was happy. But one terrible day, everything changed. Rats appeared in the town. At first, there were just a few. Then there were dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. Big gray rats with long tails and sharp teeth. They scurried through every corner of Hamelin. They chewed through bags of flour in the bakery. They nibbled on vegetables in the market. They even scared the cats away. The rats squeaked all day and all night. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The people couldn't sleep. They couldn't eat in peace. Mothers tried to keep the rats away from their babies. Fathers tried to chase them out with brooms, but nothing worked. There were just too many rats. The worried townspeople gathered in the town square. Everyone was talking at once. A baker shouted that the rats had eaten all his bread dough. A mother cried that rats had run across her kitchen table. A shopkeeper complained that customers were too scared to come to his store anymore. "We must do something," they all agreed. So they marched together to the mayor's grand house on the hill. The mayor was a plump man with a big belly and a fancy chain around his neck. He sat in his comfortable chair eating cheese and cake while the townspeople stood outside his door. "Please help us," they begged. "The rats are taking over our town. We cannot live like this anymore." The mayor didn't want to leave his comfortable chair, but he knew he had to do something. He called a meeting with all the important people of the town. The council members sat around a big table thinking and thinking. They tried everything they could imagine. They set traps, but the rats were too clever. They brought in cats, but the rats chased them away. They put out poison, but there were too many rats to stop. Nothing worked. The rats just kept coming and coming. Days turned into weeks. The people of Hamelin grew more and more desperate. The town that was once so cheerful and bright became sad and gloomy. Everyone wondered if they would have to leave their beloved homes forever. Then, one mysterious morning, something magical happened. A stranger appeared at the town gates. He was a tall, thin man dressed in the most unusual clothes anyone had ever seen. He wore a coat of many colors, red and yellow and blue and green, all swirled together like a rainbow. On his head sat a tall, pointed hat. But the most interesting thing about him was the long wooden flute that hung from a cord around his neck. The stranger walked through the town with light dancing steps. His eyes sparkled with a secret knowledge. He made his way straight to the mayor's house and knocked on the door. Boom, boom, boom. The mayor opened the door and looked at the peculiar visitor. "Who are you?" he asked rudely. "I am the Pied Piper," the stranger said with a mysterious smile. "I have heard of your rat problem, and I can help you. I can make every single rat leave your town forever." The mayor's eyes grew wide. "Really? How will you do this?" "That is my secret," the Pied Piper replied. "But I can promise you that by tomorrow morning there will not be a single rat left in Hamelin. However, I require payment for my services. You must give me 1,000 gold coins." 1,000 gold coins? The mayor thought this was a lot of money, but then he remembered all the trouble the rats were causing. He thought about the ruined food and the scared children and the sleepless nights. He decided that 1,000 gold coins was worth it to be free of the rats forever. "Very well," the mayor agreed. "If you can truly rid our town of these terrible rats, I will pay you 1,000 gold coins." The Pied Piper nodded. He turned and walked back toward the town square. All the townspeople gathered around to watch. What was this strange man going to do? How could one person get rid of thousands of rats? The Pied Piper stood in the center of the square. He lifted his wooden flute to his lips. Then he began to play. The most beautiful, enchanting, magical music filled the air. It was unlike anything the people had ever heard before. The notes danced and swirled like butterflies. They sparkled like starlight. They flowed like a gentle stream. But here's the amazing part. The children could hear the beautiful melody, but the real magic was happening where they couldn't see. The rats could hear something even more special. To them, the music sounded like the most delicious cheese, like warm, cozy nests, like everything a rat could ever want. Suddenly, from every corner of Hamelin, the rats appeared. They poured out of houses, they streamed out of shops, they crawled out of cellars and attics, hundreds and hundreds and thousands of rats, all following the magical music. They lined up behind the Pied Piper as if pulled by invisible strings. The Pied Piper began to walk, playing his flute all the while. The rats followed him in a long, winding line. He walked through the streets of Hamelin. The rats scurried behind him. He walked past the bakery and the market. The rats followed. He walked toward the edge of town. Still, the rats came. The townspeople watched in amazement. It was working. The magical music was leading all the rats away. Children clapped their hands. Adults cheered. The plan was actually working. The Pied Piper led the rats all the way to the river that ran beside the town. He walked along the riverbank, still playing his enchanted melody. The rats followed him right to the water's edge. And then something incredible happened. The rats jumped into the river. Splash, splash, splash. One after another, they leaped into the flowing water and were carried away downstream, never to return to Hamelin again. The Pied Piper played until the very last rat had disappeared. Then he lowered his flute. Silence fell over the town. It was done. Every single rat was gone. The people of Hamelin couldn't believe it. They ran through the streets, checking every corner. Not a single rat remained. Their town was free at last. They laughed and danced and celebrated. Children played without fear. Bakers could bake their bread. Families could eat dinner in peace. Hamelin was happy again. The Pied Piper returned to the mayor's house. He knocked on the door once more. The mayor opened it, already knowing why the stranger had come. "I have done what I promised," the Pied Piper said. "Every rat is gone from your town. Now please give me my payment of 1,000 gold coins." But the greedy mayor had been thinking. Now that the rats were gone, he didn't want to give away so much money. He looked at the Pied Piper and said something very foolish. 1,000 gold coins is far too much," he said rudely. "All you did was play a little tune on a flute. I'll give you 50 gold coins and not a penny more." The Pied Piper's face grew serious. His eyes darkened like storm clouds. "A deal is a deal," he said quietly. "I kept my promise. Now you must keep yours." But the mayor was stubborn and greedy. "No," he said, crossing his arms. 50 coins is my final offer. Take it or leave it." This was a terrible mistake. You should never break a promise, especially to someone with magical powers. The Pied Piper looked at the mayor for a long moment. Then, without another word, he turned and walked away. The mayor laughed, thinking he was very clever. He had saved almost all his gold. But he should have been very worried because the Pied Piper was not finished with Hamelin. That night, when the moon rose high in the sky, the Pied Piper returned to the town square. The streets were quiet. Everyone was asleep in their beds. The Pied Piper lifted his magical flute once more, but this time he played a different tune. This melody was even more beautiful than before. It sounded like laughter and games, like candy and toys, like all the wonderful things that children love. And just like the rats before them, the children of Hamelin heard the magical music. They sat up in their beds. They climbed out from under their warm blankets. They walked to their doors and windows as if in a dream. The music called to them, and they had to follow. One by one, the children came out of their houses, little ones in their nightgowns, older children in their pajamas. They gathered in the town square behind the Pied Piper, all smiling and happy as they listened to the enchanted melody. The Pied Piper began to walk, and the children followed. He led them through the streets, just as he had led the rats. He walked toward the edge of town. The children danced and skipped behind him, following the magical music. But this time, the Pied Piper didn't go to the river. Instead, he walked toward the mountains that stood tall and proud beyond Hamelin. He played his flute and walked, and the children followed, still under the spell of his enchanted song. As they reached the mountains, something magical happened. The side of the mountain opened like a door. Inside was a beautiful, glowing cave filled with golden light. The Pied Piper walked into the cave, and all the children followed him inside. Then, just as mysteriously as it had opened, the mountain closed behind them. The children were gone. When morning came, the parents of Hamelin woke to a terrible discovery. Their children's beds were empty. They searched every room of their houses. They ran into the streets calling their children's names, but the children were nowhere to be found. All the children of Hamelin had vanished. The only one left behind was a little boy who walked with crutches and couldn't move as fast as the others. He told the townspeople what had happened. He described the beautiful music and how all his friends had followed the Pied Piper into the mountain. The townspeople were heartbroken. They ran to the mountain and called for their children. They searched everywhere, but the mountain remained closed. Their beloved children were gone, and it was all because the mayor had broken his promise. The mayor fell to his knees in despair. "What have I done?" he cried. "My greed has cost us our children. If only I had kept my word and paid the Pied Piper what I owed him." The people of Hamelin learned a very important lesson that day. They learned that promises must always be kept. They learned that being greedy and dishonest leads to sorrow. They learned that treating others fairly and with respect is one of the most important things in the world. Some say that the children lived happily inside the magical mountain in a wonderful land, full of joy and laughter. Others say that the Pied Piper eventually forgave the town and brought the children back after the mayor learned his lesson. But everyone agrees on one thing: the people of Hamelin never broke another promise again. And so ends our tale, the Pied Piper of Hamelin. Remember, little ones, always keep your promises. Be honest and fair in all that you do. Treat others with kindness and respect. These lessons are more valuable than all the gold in the world. Did you enjoy this magical story? I hope it filled your heart with wonder and taught you something important too. If you loved hearing about the Pied Piper, then you'll want to join our Harry Fairytales family. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss another amazing fairy tale. We have so many more magical adventures waiting for you. Click that like button if the Pied Piper's story enchanted you, and tell me in the comments which fairy tale you'd like to hear next. Should we visit a castle with a sleeping princess, or maybe meet a girl with a Red Riding Hood? You decide. Until our next magical adventure, keep believing in the wonder of stories. Goodbye, my dear friends, and sweet dreams.